Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I'm your host, Smooth Caramel, and I talk about rap, so that's what I'm gonna do. So the song that I'll be reviewing today is by an artist called Bleu, a young artist slash singer that's from Alabama and seems to be relatively new in the rap game. With the song of topic today seeming like his breakout hit, it has insane views on YouTube, no doubt helped by the feature of Drake. The song is called Your Mind Still, and it is a remix. I can't remember what my friend said specifically about it, but the title alone was enough to really let me know what it was gonna be about, and I was gonna be in for some romanticized toxicity, in the best case as well. The second thing I knew being that this was probably going to be a review. It's still pretty new, so relevant, and I was sure it'd give me plenty to talk about. Still, I kind of put it off. As much as I enjoy analysis and critique, I wasn't sure if I was gonna have fun with this one. So after a couple videos went up before this, I thought I might as well just eat the sword and get to it. So we will begin. Your Mind Still. Not as bad as I thought it could be, but it still has some questionable undertones. The beat is light and in those minor keys, so it does invoke a sense of pain and vulnerability quite effectively, and it's anchored pretty well in that simplicity of the melody. But let's see how that pairs with the lyric. If I ever made you angry, girl, just know that it get better with time. I laughed a little bit at those first couple lines. Humans are complex, so being close to somebody, especially on that romantic level, means that you're liable to make each other mad, so I guess that line starting off makes sense. But in the way that this is started, it just makes me picture two people mid or post argument, and this man, our rapper slash singer, in response to some heated grievances, he basically says, I see. I can understand why you're still mad about that. But even if you are, you won't be later. Time heals all wounds, you know? With no acknowledgement at all in his role in stoking this anger. No apology at all, thinking about it. But all with romantic singing, so it's sweet and soulful, right?
She can't see her life without me. She's so blasted. You can tell him that you're mine still.
This woman really has no voice in this song. Bleu is able to speak for her. Now, prepare for overthinking. She's so blessed still. What does he mean by this? Most likely that she still possesses the points and attributes that made this woman so appealing to this man. I won't discount that reading, but with the tone, it does make me think that he's essentially implying that she's still blessed to have his love, even this amount of time after they've broken up, to the point where she's already in a new relationship, but she's blessed to have his love. Pretty conceited and potentially even quite deluded in his thinking there, especially with that fervent declaration that she's still his.
And she don't wanna go to sleep, she angry. Lately she been noticing he ain't me.
These lines kind of confuse me. Firstly, again with the fact that she's angry. I mean, it sounds like she's still angry at Bleu's character, so with the way that this anger seems to be persisting, it just makes me wonder what the fuck he actually did to this woman. I mean, she's moved on to the point of entering a new relationship and she's still angry. As to the reasons for this anger, we are not privy to these details for reasons. Some reason. Plus, noticing he ain't me. I know that he's implying that her new man doesn't measure up, but I just kind of laughed at the more literal version of that meaning. Now, I'm not so inclined to believe that this is the case, but the other thing is that if it's the new man that she's mad at, how does he know? He being Bleu slash Blue's character in this case. Another case of him just deciding how he feels for her based on whatever he thinks. Or are we to believe that they're still in touch? In which case, it's likely that she's just rebounding with the new guy. And if that's the case, then I'm not sure who I'm mad at or rooting for in this song. If she happens to be playing a new romantic partner, which just isn't a very sympathetic picture to be painted.
I wish that we can change places. Don't want no new won't face it.
Another strange line. Who is he looking to change places with? At first I thought that he wanted to be the one that moved on and got to a place where he was ready to start a new relationship. But that doesn't make sense since he doesn't want any new faces. So I can only assume that he wants to change places with her new partner. But they're exes. He's already been there and it didn't work. Presumably due to his own actions, so what's the point? Plus, with all these arrogant claims of ownership of this human woman, there's not actually any reference to him taking action to get her back or regain her trust or whatever it may be. Just passively watching her move on. It's kind of stalkerish, to be honest. Even if it is a case of they happen to be in touch, it's still quite obsessive and fixated on the past, which further suggests a state of delusion since she is in a new relationship.
Don't go build a life without me, cause you're mine still. And I don't wanna go unless you make me.
Now I know why Drake relates to this song.
Else. You don't need no one else, you don't need nobody else, no.
Imagine telling an ex not to build a life. No, don't continue living. We're not together anymore, therefore your life must stop. Time does tend to heal emotional wounds, but it does so once you actually take steps to heal and to grow. And building a life is usually involved in this. And he doesn't want to go unless she makes him? I'm not sure what to make of this. There's the brazen and somewhat ominous interpretation of he won't move on and leave her alone until she essentially forces him. Some you shit right there. Or it could be that they're playing some kind of twisted game of emotional chicken and he just doesn't want to be the one to admit his feelings first. Drake's verse is just very Drake, clumsily trying to portray himself as confident and unfazed, yet vulnerable, sympathetic and a victim.
Please call me victim. No.
The standout lines for me being,
I took you to the club and you hugged on somebody that I know. And I know them type of hugs. Same shit I do to women when I know I used to fuck.
man, this guy's petty. What a tangent to go off on just because a girl hugged a man in a club. And he even goes as far as saying that it looks like they used to fuck, in which case it doesn't really matter. He always makes mundane shit sound so dramatic. I mean, it's the fact that a woman who he's with has slept with somebody else that he's met before in the past. It's more self-indicting than anything because all we're actually told is that she hugged another man in the club. And then he takes that opportunity to fill in the blanks based on his own perception and his own actions and misdoings and go on this weird emotional tangent. Remember, this is the mere occurrence of a hug. I saw the way that she shook hands with that police officer. It was the same way that I shook a police officer's hands when I had blood in the other hand because I just shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot the deputy. But yeah, I saw the way that she shook that police officer's hand. She must be a killer. This could be what they call projection. And even if his suspicions actually are warranted, he still manages to cut it off abruptly with a
You should lay it down, we'll talk about it when you up.
but still romantic to his core and to his verse. Yet in that borderline creepy way like he's putting a child to bed. I feel like he's done that before. I feel like he's spoken to grown women in his songs like little girls before.
Used to always stay at home, be a good girl.
But still romantic, which actually makes it sound worse because it basically means that he's been stewing on this singular occurrence that happened in the nightclub for the entire evening until they got home and went to bed, specifically to a point where she might be going to sleep. Or he's recalling it to her on another occasion on a completely separate day, also at a point when she might be just about to go to sleep. Which would mean that it's been on his mind for such an extended period of time without him actually addressing it, like an adult might. Before then, just slipping it into the end of a conversation at the end of the day as she's about to go to sleep. Like some manipulative, childish coward. I can't believe I just had to go in so deep on some silly Drake lyrics. Moving on, there's still more to look at here before I completely go down the rabbit hole. Lots of repeated lines from Bleu, so we'll skip to where there's some new material.
Down on my knees, open, you take me. Better tell that nigga you mine. Heard you been trying to tie the knot. Girl, tell me you lying.
Alright, so now he's decided to do something. So young Blue's persona or character here is now on his knees and begging. He's on the ground pleading to this woman, but also demanding that she tell her new man, whom we've discovered she's decided to marry, that she is indeed still his to this point. Making demands while down on your knees hoping feels somewhat counterproductive, to be honest. And the tell me you lying. This man's ego and sense of ownership over this, again, human woman person is some wildly toxic shit. Especially with the fact that this is where the flow and delivery harden and sharpen quite abruptly. They'd only been soft, longing, heavily auto-tuned, singing from young Blue up until this point. He's not trying to be romantic here.
Let me be that pussy one more time. Let me be that pussy one more time.
Clearly. This really gives the game away when it comes to Blue's character's intentions. His immediate response to who is potentially the love of his life, about to spend the rest of her life with another person. He gets down on his knees, desperately at her mercy. Please, take me back. Tell this nigga you mine. Let's have sex one more time. Our man is a charm. So instead of professing his love or asking her to spend her life with him instead, the man just wants to get it on one more time. After that, I really hope she doesn't fall for this as is depicted in the music video. Based on this guy's portrayal throughout the song, she'll either fall victim to him and his very obvious issues with women, or she'll fall victim to the post-nut clarity. Let's be real, he doesn't want her. He's just possessive and in denial and doesn't want anyone else to have her. Like a child with a toy, which is reductive as hell for this adult woman and her emotions and autonomy. Now, I'm not gonna go as far as saying that people shouldn't like this song. It's fair enough to like a song for the general feelings that it invokes. I mean, I recently just gushed about my love for a song that is essentially about a man waving money at a stripper. But if you enjoy this song to any real degree of lyrical specificity, then I think it would be safe to say that there may be some ideas about love and romance that would benefit from some reevaluation. Time does heal wounds, but maybe move on and get some space from your ex. And more importantly, give them some space from you. Especially if the relationship ended because of a serious transgression on your part. So at this point, I think it's decidedly safe to say that this song is definitely not for me. The toxicity and the overall ideas that are portrayed are far too off-putting. It also bears a serious resemblance to Lucid Dreams by the late Juice WRLD. So when I hear this, I can't help but compare it to that. Which, to be clear, I didn't massively like either, but I do see it as a better song. Let me explain. In that song, while the lyrics do demonstrate some raw and somewhat malicious feelings toward the ex, the song offers a sense of distance from the ex as a person, which lets the song be experienced more as a visceral outlet for pure expression. For the sake of an emotional catharsis, his youth and inexperience are clear, and that unfiltered nature really adds that sense of fallibility. There's what comes across as an intentional depiction of being flawed, whereas young Blue speaks about his ex more in the present and future, making it more of an extended and ongoing narrative, and that kind of makes it more toxic for her. It's all about her in terms of him, despite her being shown to be the one that's moved on. Juice more speaks of her in terms of the past, and when it's not, it's usually done to an extent where it can be seen as more metaphorical or hyperbolic. It's more him in terms of her, from his hurt, more emotionally warped perspective, reinforced by the title of Lucid Dreams, which kind of separates it from the reality. Though I will admit that the "I won't let you forget me" line is a tad on the creepy side.
I won't let you forget me.
Could fit nicely in a slasher or horror movie. With that said, Lucid Dreams isn't what I would consider to be a breakup or missing the ex song done right. If I were to recommend one that I think is done a bit more effectively, I'd probably recommend Contradiction by Marley Music, which features Janae Aiko. A healthier, more positive rendition of going through the motions, thinking about an ex for whom you may have some lingering hopes of reconnecting, one that I even related to at one point in the past. With that though, I'm gonna wrap it up. I don't want to be pontificating about relationships for too long here. So I'll just say peace and love, people. Look after yourselves. This has been another Smooth Caramel review.